to see everyone and to have this opportunity to practice together with you this evening. So, we're going to start with a short guided meditation together. So, I'd like to invite you to sit yourself in a posture that is comfortable and also stable, setting up your body to allow your skeletal structure to support your body so that you can minimize the use of muscles to facilitate bodily relaxation. You might find it helpful to sit in a way so that your lower back can fall into its natural curvature. And when the body is relaxed, the mind can also relax. And make sure your head, your neck, and your spine are in a straight line, facilitated by tucking in your chin slightly, tip of the tongue touching the roof of the mouth behind the upper front teeth, mouth closed, eyes relaxed and downcast. And if we close our eyes, be sure that we are not creating tension, shutting the eyes. And remember to allow some light in to avoid drowsiness. And we begin. Feel the relaxation of the top of the head. Directly experience the subtle sensations of the crown, relaxing like melting butter. And feel the relaxation spread to the forehead. Check to see if we're holding tension in this area by habit, perhaps from worrying. And right here, right now, we can give this worry a rest and allow the tension to melt away. And feel the relaxation spread to the eyeballs and eye muscles. Check to see if we're holding tension in these muscles by habit from all the comparing, analyzing, judging. And right here, right now, there's no need to do that. And we can give these muscles a vacation and allow the tension to melt away. And feel the relaxation spread to the facial muscles. Check to see if we're holding tension in these muscles by habit. Maybe from feeling the need to hold a certain facial expression for the world to see. Right here, right now, there is no need to do that. We can give these muscles a vacation and allow the tension to melt away. And feel the relaxation spread to the entire head. And feel the relaxation spread to the neck muscles. Directly experience the subtle sensations of these muscles softening like melting butter as we allow the tension to melt away. And feel the relaxation Spread down the shoulder muscles and down the arms and the forearms. And all the way down to the fingertips. And feel the relaxation spread to the chest area. Check to see if we are holding tension in this area by habit, maybe from anxiety, worry, fear, maybe grief, sadness. Right here, right now, we can give them a rest and allow the tension to melt away. And feel the relaxation spread down the torso, down to the lower abdomen. Trust that the skeletal structure can hold up the body. And these muscles do not need to work so hard. And we can give them a vacation and allow the tension to melt away. And feel the relaxation spread to the upper back. Directly experience the subtle sensations of the muscles between the shoulder blades softening as we allow the tension to melt away. And feel the relaxation spread down the back to the lower back and all the way to the buttocks, where we feel the sensations of the body sitting on this cushion or chair. And feel the relaxation spread down the thighs and all the way down the legs to the toes. And feel the relaxation of the entire body sitting right here, right now. Cultivate this clear, wakeful mind, moment after moment. We stay with the subtle, changing sensations as the body sits right here, right now. And we'll notice the subtle movements of the body breathing. And we can stay with the changing sensations of the body breathing as we allow the body to breathe on its own. There's no need for us to do anything to the breathing. All we need to do is to be here, to directly experience the subtle changing sensations of the body breathing. You can use this to anchor our mind to the unfolding present moment. And when we notice the mind drifting off, losing contact with the body, not a problem. All we need to do is to use that as an opportunity to practice finding our way back, to come back to the changing sensations of the body breathing. And if we notice thoughts coming through the mind, that's not a problem. That too is part of the unfolding present moment. Allow the thought to be here. Allow it to be fully experienced, seen, heard, felt, and allow it to leave on its own time. No need to try to push it away. No need to drag it out. Either. Moment after moment, practice being here fully with this clear, wakeful mind in relaxation. It doesn't matter how often or how long the mind drifts off, as long as we can find our way back to the method, we are practicing well.
Ah, beautiful. I feel so relaxed now.
So please do feel free to move and stretch out. And I'd like to invite you to maintain this clear awareness of the changing sensations as the body begins to move. So even though the formal meditation session has ended, we can continue to practice, continue to maintain this clear, relaxed mind in our life lived in motion.
Thank you.
So, um, earlier when Kiana sort of gave this introduction using the general title of this series, Living in Uncertainty with Clarity and Compassion. And about a week ago, when this today's session was arranged, Marcy brought to my attention that it might be a good idea to also think about um, not just the pandemic, but also the frustrations and anger and the social injustice that is clear in display. So I'm going to go ahead and talk about that. And um, I think we all know that life had been turned upside down since March when the pandemic was announced or declared, and we were told to stay at home, many of us, and it was a for everyone had been an incredibly stressful time just because of all the uncertainty, not knowing what's going on, causing a lot of anxiety. Right? We are dealing with a new coronavirus. Nobody knew how it behaved, how people's health will be affected. No one knew about the death rate. Um, well, no one knew how many people around us were infected. And so a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. And Gianna was mentioning how a lot of people are still quite afraid of thinking about going back to school or going outside. Um, and along this, at the same time, because of the stay-at-home order, we are witnessing record level of unemployment. And we kept hearing about the economic collapse around us. We don't know what's going to happen. A lot of us may not um, have our job, or we may not have the industry we live in may be forever changed by this. Our financial future, our livelihood, also a lot of uncertainty. And another thing that's also happening during the past 2 months, almost 3 months, is the racial disparity in our country in clear display. And as the outbreak continue, we began to learn that infection rate among African American, for example, is much higher than the general population. And also a lot of essential workers or frontline workers also tend to be people of color, and they do not have appropriate protection provided by their employer. It's very painful to see, for example, healthcare workers having to put their life at risk without the basic protective equipment. And a lot of grocery store workers being forced to go to work, or food processing plant workers risking infection, even though there's outbreak at their workplace. And also, I've heard of harsh enforcement of the stay-at-home order in area, residential area of predominantly minority Americans. And so these are just a few examples of the racial disparity that's also going on, compounding the pain and anxiety experienced by all of us during the pandemic. And it's very painful to watch how, when we started talking about the need to wear a mask to protect each other from infection, that Black Americans have to fear for their life wearing a mask out in public, or to go do things that other people take for granted, like go jogging, um, and to just any police encounter. And the protest that we have seen in response to the tragic and senseless loss of life, the most recent one being that of George Floyd. And I was asked to address to help us think about the experience of anger and frustration that had been showing up, and there might be anger or frustration experience, perhaps because of anger at the lack of progress, and also this is not new. This has been going on for a long time, and there's a lot of frustration at the silence and the lack of action in response to violence against and the high infection rate among especially Black Americans, because it leaves us feeling that nobody cares. That's the Black Lives Matter movement. I think it's important that we do that, make our voice heard. And the protest that broke out last week in response to what happened help us remember that what's been happening is unjust, and it's not in accordance with our shared value of equality, human rights, and justice for all that we believe and share. So if anybody thinks that that's okay, that's we made it clear that's not okay. And what happened is, for people who practice meditation, there's this assumption that to practice meditation is about never being angry. And if you feel angry, it's like, oh, something's wrong with my practice. I'm doing something wrong. And also related to that, there is this sort of subtle, or very common misunderstanding that practicing meditation is about sort of being passive, like you just want to be peaceful. You don't do anything, even though something outrageous is happening. And I want to point out that those are misunderstanding about the practice. And it's important to understand that when we are faced with injustice, unfair treatment, anger is a normal and natural response